Let's start at the beginning. How you came to be the amazing teacher that you are today. What was the first spark or moment that made you realize Tai Chi was going to be your lifelong path?
Very good question. Um, well, I started doing Tai Chi in around 1998 after a car accident. So the car accident left me with 50% of the sight in my right eye. Um, I had a head injury as well. I wasn't in the greatest of places. And so one of my friends who is now passed basically took me to a Tai Chi class. And from that point onwards, as soon as I felt the energy, let's say, I, I was hooked. But I realized that I was also quite unique in that I felt the energy extremely quickly. And none of the other students there really felt that feeling of what would now be described as chi. Um, it was a real kind of light bulb moment for me. I realized that the life I've been living wasn't too savory, and let's just say I liked my clubbing back in those days. So I was going from a point of my life was out of balance to finding balance within myself. And in the beginning, I used to write down everything in my Tai Chi lessons to help me remember, because my short-term memory wasn't very good. Um, my short-term memory really improved after the first couple of years doing Tai Chi. I really liked it. I liked the feeling, and I practiced even after class. Whatever we'd learned in class, I would kind of practice afterwards and the days that followed. I never did one class and then didn't do my practice. Every opportunity I got, I practiced what I had learned. And in the beginning, it was just learning the choreography, which helps you to connect really to your body and maybe helping to improve the memory at that stage. And then later on, I started to connect inside my body. So, like the internal, like the naja, like the internal channels in my body started to open. I started to feel a lot more. And now, going to current day, I've been doing Tai Chi for 27 years. And Qigong and a little bit of Neigong as well. So I'll explain more about those later. But for me, learning the Tai Chi was the first thing that I really enjoyed, the sequence of movement and learning the sequence of movement and how to move into the different forms in the most basic of ways in the beginning was really, really good. And then the Qigong, I really, really like. That's when I started to notice and start to feel the connections in my body more. And so I watched something very, very early on that talked about stretching, and it was a master of each one. So each one is like the standing, and it's also like a fighting art as well, but it's very, very peaceful. And so I learned that the stretching was really, really important. And so I started to emphasize, opening my body, stretching the body. Where everyone else was like limp, like a limp noodle, I maintained my structural integrity and I progressed faster than any of my peers around me. So that's how I got to, realize how important Tai Chi was. And then 10 years had passed. And I realized that I hadn't been ill in those 10 years either. So it really, really helped to shape my health and my fitness. I just didn't get ill. I could be in rooms of people that were sick and I never got what they had. Partly because I don't believe in, I didn't believe in their illnesses in the first place. It's something that they had. It didn't affect me. So, and later on, I also learned that the field around your body, so the biomagnetic field, the Wei Chi field, as it's called, strengthens as you practice your qigong and your tai chi, and you get to a stage where illness is something that doesn't really affect you, certainly not as much. Depends on how much you practice. And I went from doing 1-2 classes a week to doing 5 to 6 classes a week within a couple of years. Mm-hmm. So I was with my first Tai Chi school for 10 years, and that was a school called Wu-Tan. They were based in Southampton, but there was a teacher up here called Darren, and he was my first mentor, really. And we used to do a little bit of kung fu mixed in with the classes, and that's the side I didn't like. I didn't like the kung fu. I really like the Tai Chi, and I really like the Qigong. But after 10 years, I just realized that all we were doing every year, we would do a form, and then we would do another form, a different form. So all I was doing was collecting forms, and I was extremely good at remembering all of that movement, but we didn't master anything. We just collected forms, and that was the first 10 years of my Tai Chi experience. So I feel that that's one of the pitfalls when you start doing Tai Chi. You learn the form, and then straight away you move on to another one, and that's not correct. Definitely not. You should master what you're learning in the first form before you even move on to another form. And that's something that kind of bridges the gap between traditional and modern. So traditional will get you to do a move over and over and over again. In China, you do the same move for months, maybe, years, and they only take you so far. Again, another kind of pitfall I feel within that technique is this repetition of the same move over and over and over and over again. When you can get further by doing more now, you're still going back to the beginning and repeating those movements. But for some people, just the repetition of doing one move over and over and over again, and then not giving the next move until it's perfect, is something that stops people from adopting Tai Chi for themselves and for really experiencing the true benefits of health through the Tai Chi practice, all that opening of the body through the Tai Chi practice. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that people they're after a quick fix, and Tai Chi is definitely not that. It's not a quick fix. It's something that you have to dedicate yourself to, your life to. I feel that you have to live Tai Chi. And that's the only way you're going to get to self-mastery. And it is mastery of the self first. And a master is only somebody that is, constantly improving themselves. And that's why I would say that I practice Tai Chi, is that I want to constantly improve myself and my health, and to show people how that looks is to, be living example of living your art, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a way of life, isn't it?
It is a way of life, definitely. And for me, it's become something that I do every day. And it's something that helps me to connect to myself. Mm-hmm. I value the stretching exercises and the connection exercises, the Qigong, over all of my Tai Chi practice, because it's all led me to this place where I am now.
Yes. So, who was the teacher that influenced you most, and what is the one lesson from them that you are carrying in your heart today?
Now, teachers that influence me the most. Now, my absolute hero is hero, philosopher, the godfather of, MMA, sometimes they call him, but Bruce Lee influenced me a lot. Especially his ethos in training and the way he trains, like the isometric training and things, that was really, really important. But the teacher that influenced me the most and actually helped me to changed the most and to really appreciate doing internal work was Howard Wang.
Mhm.
So he is a prana dynamics teacher, and I met him just before the pandemic. Um, and over the pandemic, so I met him and I did a 2-day course with him in London. I met him and I loved his philosophy. Like his philosophy was like, it's not traditional, you know, it's an art where you're focusing inside, you're releasing all your tension or your stress, or you're becoming more song. So song is letting go and releasing, okay? Which we use a lot in Tai Chi. We say song the joints or song the hip, or yeah. So we release and let go of that tension inside the body. It doesn't mean relax. That's a misconception. It does not mean relax. So Howard taught me about the fascia. So that's the connective tissue inside your body. It's also a conductor inside your body as well, like an electrical conductor. It helps your body to heal. And in the 1920s, it was something that was used in sports all over the world. And then they banned it because they realized that the people who practiced the fascia training had an advantage over everybody else. So it was kind of buried for a really, really long time. And it's also the secret behind, you know, Tai Chi and Qigong. Yeah, fascia is so important and so integral to the internal work. It helps to, it's almost like once your fascia is open, you can start feeling the fluid in your body more. And this is equated to like the feeling of chi, although it's not chi yet. The fascia really helps to open the body in really unexpected ways, and will give you lots and lots of health benefits. You'll heal a lot faster if you can access your fascia. And this is something that I do emphasize in my own practice and training. And this is something I know that will evolve later on into, you know, this real kind of connection to chi. It's just a refinement of opening and stretching, or opening the joints and stretching.
So, before you became a master, what was the biggest challenge you faced in your own practice?
Okay, so the biggest factor in practicing is feeling like you're not going to be progressing, or you can't feel your progression. And so you practice the form over and over and over and over and over again, and you cannot feel any changes in your body for a long time. I felt this for a long time. And you nearly give up because you can't feel any progress at all. And that's probably the biggest pitfall. That feeling that so you learn the form, it gets to a point where you can remember all the movement. You can remember what comes next. It starts to become more natural. You start to not, you don't have to think about it. It becomes second nature when you practice your forms or when you do your Qigong and things like that. So during the pandemic, there was no way of doing push hands, which is our sensitivity drill exercise, or even touching the body and listening to the body, like the tinging listening skill, which we use quite a lot in Tai Chi, to feel the other person's root, if you like, to feel if they have a root, number one, to feel where their tension is, number two, and to feel if they're bound in any way, like people's muscles and things are very bound and very, very tight. It's a little bit like you get a bodybuilder and they do lots and lots of weight training. Yeah, their body looks amazing, fantastic, but they've bound their muscles so tightly that their energy can't move through them very well. And so when you touch somebody like that and you send your own energy through, not power, but just energy, they move and can be uprooted really, really easily. So during the pandemic, that wasn't something that we were able to do. So when you're practicing online and doing all these exercises, there was no way of...
There's no feedback.
there's no feedback. No, exactly. You could only feel, the changes in your own body, so to speak. So you don't really think you've made any progress. And so after the pandemic ended, I touched one of my students, and as I touched him, he stuck to my arm. And when I moved my arm, he continued to stick to my arm. And he couldn't even let go. He couldn't pull himself off. He just didn't know how. And he was laughing his head off because he didn't realize what was happening. I was just like, wow, this is really, really cool. I've developed this sticking skill through my practice, but I didn't realize that's what I was doing through my stretching and opening. But it's something that developed naturally. And that was the biggest kind of challenge with Tai Chi. You can feel like you're doing nothing for a very, very long time. And that's really disheartening for a lot of people. Again, because people want a quick fix. They need to feel that they're progressing. And this is why some people try and hurry through the forms or try and learn from YouTube or, something like this. You need a teacher to kind of guide you through that process. It's really important that you have a teacher guide you through that process, in fact.
But a teacher that can actually explain what you're doing.
Yeah, this is the other thing that's like one of the biggest pitfalls in Tai Chi. There's so many people that they come from a martial arts background. So they do karate for 24 years, and their bodies become really, really hard, really strong, and they're really, really powerful. And then they go one day, oh, I'm going to do Tai Chi now. And then they learn Tai Chi. Maybe they do Tai Chi for 5 years, and they go, okay, I can teach this to other people. Not realizing that the one thing that they need to let go of is their strength, or to let go of their muscle tension, really.
Tension. Yeah. And
so someone like that trying to teach someone to do Tai Chi is, it kind of, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. They're just going through the motions, and they end up kind of, the teacher will say, okay, relax your posture. And they'll end up with like limp noodles for arms, and like their structural collapse, and their spine collapses, their skeleton collapses, everything disappears. There's no continuity to what they're doing. Okay, they're just learning the movement, and they're not told what each movement does. They're not taught how to ground. They're not taught how to lengthen the spine. They're not taught how to open the joints. They're certainly not taught about fascia. There are a few very, very good teachers in this world that do teach that stuff. Adam Meisner being, again, one of my heroes, going back to that. Love Adam. And Damo's really, really good as well. They have a no-nonsense approach. But when you look at their forms, or when they open up and touch somebody, they get results straight away. And this is through conditioning and training and song and doing their own practice, and not coming to one class a week and expecting miracles to happen. Exactly. Yeah, miracles do not happen overnight. Adam is very good at like the mind stuff as well, so like the meditation side, which again is another aspect that we can explore within Tai Chi practice and within Qigong practice. Tai Chi can sometimes be called moving meditation. And again, this is not something that I agree with at all. It's not moving meditation. At all times, you're mindful of your movement, yes, but you must feel not only what is happening externally, but internally as well.
It's funny because you just mentioned Tai Chi being called meditation and motion, right? So for you, what does that feel like in the middle of the practice?
Tai Chi for most people, in the beginning, especially in the beginning, when they look at it, it looks very mechanical. I feel that Tai Chi is much more hydraulic based.
Mm.
Think of the system of Tai Chi and Qigong, really, but Tai Chi more as this rooting to the ground. And from your root, you're connecting everything from your feet through to your center of balance, gravity, and mass. Although I don't really agree with the word gravity, it's more of a magnetic connection. You know, the earth is magnetized. Imagine yourself as your legs are copper wires connecting to the ground.
Mm.
Your body is the magnet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's in a closed circuit as well. So when everything is in the right place, with that closed circuit, the energy moves around constantly and flows smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you maintain, the proper alignments, the proper structure. I'm going to talk about structure in a bit, but the grounding is probably the most important part, especially in the beginning. And then everything else comes after. So maybe you build yourself from your feet to the top of your head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Howard used to teach about, your feet being in the ground and your head is like an antenna going upwards, connecting into the heavens, if you like, or into the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps to open the biomagnetic energy field as well. And just creates a really, really strong spine. You know, in China, they say if you want to live a long time, you need to have a healthy spine. And so this is one of the reasons why Tai Chi and Qigong are a really, really good option for anyone suffering from bad backs and things like that. I myself, being quite tall, so I'm like 6'6".
Mm-hmm. Growing.
I get taller every year because I practice, this lengthening through the spine. So it's not lengthening, it's lengthening both ways as well. It's lengthening up and lengthening down at the same time. And that's all I'm going to say about that for now, because that's another topic, another subject, like this spinal stretch or decompressing the spine. Decompressing the spine.
You're creating space between the vertebrae.
Absolutely. So it's like a string of pearls. You're trying to open the string of pearls.
Mm-hmm.
And to help the synovial fluid to fill all your joints, which is why we need to open the joints in the first place. Mm-hmm. Synovial fluid fills the joints or the space between your joints when you open a joint, and then when your joint closes, it's protected. And so if you keep doing this, then you can eradicate a lot of things. So if people were to, small example, pulsing the joints, you're opening your finger, so all three joints of your finger, you're pulling it open very, very lightly, and so the joints are being filled with this fluid. Mm-hmm. And then when you press very, very lightly, you can feel that everything connecting together, but it's not painful. So people that have, arthritis and things like that, this is why opening the joints is really, really important. Mm-hmm. And the Chinese call this opening of the joints, opening the 9 ball bearings. So there's ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, elbow, wrist, and then the 3 joints on your fingers.
Mm-hmm. So, in a world that is always rushing, why do you feel the slow, deliberate practice of Tai Chi is more important now more than ever?
Tai Chi connects the body. Qigong connects the body. People have become very disconnected from their bodies. They, again, we're going to mention after everything, they all want a quick fix. Mm-hmm. This is no good for you, not really. I mean, it's trying to get instant gratification through doing a practice, that you don't learn anything from doing things quickly. You can feel how your body is connected or disconnected in some cases by how, when you move quickly, or, you know, when you're walking, you know, most people, if you observe most people, you can go to any supermarket and observe people, how they stand. I mean, most people are looking at their phones, so immediately you have the spine not in the right place. Prolonged, the spine not being in the right place is going to start to curve the spine. This is also true for people that don't breathe into their lungs or into their abdomen. So more into the abdomen, fills the lungs, diaphragm descends, everything is opened up, everything becomes really healthy, you oxygenate your blood and your energy flows better when you breathe right. But if you observe people, really observe people, they are either leaning forwards on their ball of their feet, or worse, on their toes. So their center of balance is being shifted slowly, or they're on their heels too much, so the center of balance is going the other way. Nobody is letting their center of balance drop through the center of their body and out through the center of their feet. Or at least not many people, unless they're doing it mindfully. So you have to really practice that aspect, and that's where we get to the alignment of your body, really. Like this energy center, the Chinese call the Dantian. So it is a biomagnetic battery, and you have 3 in your body: upper, so 1 in your head; middle, 1 in the chest region; and then 1 in your lower abdomen. So the head and the heart regions, or chest region, you can't really store energy in your head because it makes you go a little bit crazy. You can't store energy in your heart because it'll overheat. So we normally store chi, energy, in the lower abdomen. And we have to build this area. It's not like it's already there. I mean, we start with original chi in the kidneys, but we really want to connect our mind to our abdomen when we breathe. So this is the first step of when we breathe, we want to feel the abdomen rising and falling. So the other thing that can be caused by not breathing properly is like this dowager's hump or widow's hump, where the curvature of the spine is very evident. And you see there's a lot in the elderly. Yeah, it's really, really important, the breath work. But not to force it, right? So you're not forcing the breath. You're just being mindful of putting your I hate the word mindful. It's more intention, okay? So mindful is like a buzzword at the moment, but intent is the most important element I find in my practice. If I put my mind inside my abdomen when I'm training, I'm much more stable. I can feel the lower half of my body connecting to the ground, okay? And that's just how I train. If I'm trying to train the physical, that is, if I'm trying to train the energetic, then I would first start my students sitting down in a chair and opening the joints, stretching open the joints, stretching open the fascia in quite a strong way. So they start to begin to feel this internal sensation, if you like. So this internal sensation is the first thing I get people to pay attention to. Because once people can feel the internal sensation, then they can start creating it more and more and more. It's not to say that this internal sensation in the beginning is chi, because it's not. It's more stretching the ligaments and the tendons and the fascia and the nerve endings as well. So you're kind of feeling those things being stretched. This in turn stretches the meridians in the body. So these are like rivers and pathways, or Jinglu. We have 12 of those in the body. and they relate to lungs, large intestine, pericardium, sanjiao. So sanjiao is a weird word. It's upper, middle, lower jiao. So they cook your food and your water and they turn it into energy for your body. Okay, and then we have the heart, and then we have the small intestine. Okay, and then we have in your feet, stomach, liver, bladder, spleen, and gallbladder. Okay, I think that's all of them. Oh yeah, and kidney as well. Sorry, kidney as well.
You're getting distracted by the fireworks outside.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Chinese
So we're
New
in
Year.
Chinese New Year. It's Chinese New Year. So happy New Year. And we're in Thailand as well, so they celebrate Chinese New Year.
Beautiful Thailand.
It is lovely here, yeah, definitely. It's like home from home.
It is, really much so.
If you need some sunshine, come to Thailand. If you
For
need some
sure.
warmth, come to Thailand.
Sunshine, peace, and wonderful people.
Exactly. So, being in Thailand, the other thing is that where I'm from, England, is cold and damp and windy. So Chinese, again, Chinese traditional medicine, cold, damp wind invades your body, and this is why you get ill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it affects your hips, it affects your back, it affects everything.
Creates inflammation, right?
Creates inflammation, exactly right, yeah, exactly. And this is why some people, feel the need to have hip replacement operations and things like that when none is really needed. You just have to do the qigong work first. Stretch open the body. Maybe use a couple of the qigong, dredging the 8 channels, which is again like a really, really simple exercise. And get proper advice from a teacher that knows what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So we can help with that. We can suggest exercises that are going to be good for your body, and we can help you to open your body as well. And we do this through different methods. So, for example, I know many different forms of qigong, and some neigong as well, but not so much. I know some yang neigong. Neigong is much more hidden than qigong. Neigong isn't widely taught. It was passed down from teacher to student orally in the traditional way of disseminating the information.
Mm-hmm.
So with qigong, there's wisdom healing qigong. We have I Ching Jing, muscle tendon strengthening exercise. We have Badwan. We have health versions of this, but we also have Shaolin, martial versions of this as well. My focus is much more on the health aspect. So my teaching is how to open the body. Yeah, that's my main focus. Opening the body, stretching the body, and through that practice, we can then start to work with Tai Chi as well. But my focus would be, if I was a beginner now, I would focus much more on the opening of the body and the stretching of the body than I would on forms in the beginning. Even though we do all of that and more. But there's thousands of different exercises. The Chinese government has standardized a lot of movements for health over the years. They've changed Tai Chi from what it was to the art it is now. It's lost its original flavor, if you like. My take on this is that it was much more for healing, and Chen people would say that Chen Wanting, who created Tai Chi in the 1600s, being a general in the army.
Sorry, just the bat flying in our balcony.
Such is nature.
Yeah.
So General Chen Wanting created Tai Chi in the 1600s. And this is where the records began for Tai Chi. Wudang Mountain would tell you that it was a guy named Chan Sung Fang who watched a snake and an eagle fight. So he's known as a Taoist immortal. So you cannot prove the existence of a Taoist immortal, no matter how hard you try. But I don't believe a Taoist immortal would want you to fight. I believe that he came to teach the art of Tai Chi for healing and self-preservation and for opening the body. I think it was changed or distorted to be something that is used for fighting. But since the original records start in the 1600s, it's just a viewpoint of mine, that's all. It's just an idea. Again, my idea can't be proved or disproved either, but I find the health benefits from doing what I do really beneficial, and they've helped me in all areas of my life, including helping my memory and helping me to really connect to myself, to realize my self-worth, to help me become more philosophical as I get older. And the same thing I believe happened to Yang Yu-chan as well. As he got older, he decided that he wasn't going to fight as much and that he would teach more of the energetic side of Tai Chi.
What is the biggest aha moment you've seen a student have in your class?
There's so many. There's so many.
Mm-hmm.
People go to the doctors and they have all of their organs tested. And their liver function and their kidney function have gone up by 40% and 30% respectively. And then they come to me and they say, oh yeah, I'm really healthy. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's what it does. It regulates the whole of the system. You know, you're working with breathing into your body. So your breath is going to regulate your blood, help lower your blood pressure. Bending and stretching and moving from side to side is going to massage your kidneys. Opening your arms and stretching, opening your chest is going to, start massaging your heart against your rib cage. You're going to open your lungs. Your kidney function gets better. Your liver function gets better. You start to feel more healthy. Tapping your body and kicking your calves, for example, like kicking your calves. Your calves are related to your heart, or called your second heart in Chinese medicine. And so you're increasing the elasticity in your veins and increasing the circulation. So there's so many aha moments. Even when I touch people and I expand my body from the inside and they start to move. And like, how do you do that? It's just a feeling of expansion inside my body that makes them move. Mm. So there's too many aha moments. Mm-hmm. There's no one student that I've come across that has demonstrated, everyone has a significant moment. There's always moments of enlightenment, well, not really enlightenment, but moments of clarity, let's say, rather than enlightenment. And enlightenment is a different process. So clarity, definitely. Mm-hmm. They realize that their memory's improved. They're not getting breathless when they walk up and down the stairs. For me, mine was my back. Being really, really tall, my spine was not in a good place. So I've had car accidents where there were whiplash, where the car had hit the impact, rippled through the car. And I didn't get it in my in my neck or my upper back. I got it through my pelvis. Like my lower back was really affected by an accident that, you know, nearly killed me. You know, sitting in that car with all the jagged bonnet and realizing that I had dreamt about this 3 months previous was definitely an aha moment for me. I realized that
you had a premonition.
I had a premonition, and I carried on doing the same thing I'd been doing all along. I didn't listen to what my mind and my body was trying to tell me. And again, that's another thing. If you start doing this art and you continue down the same pathway with your body, with your habits, you'll see improvement. But as soon as you stop the practice, you'll revert back to normal. So you have to change the way you think, change the way you feel, change the way you see things, change the way you do things, and change your habits as well.
That's why it's a way of life, right?
It becomes a way of life. You know, at any given moment should be part of your practice. It shouldn't just be, you know, when I teach people, I'm not practicing for myself. Not at all. That's something different. I'm explaining them how their body works, how their body opens, how to open their body, what to feel. And I know that I'm unique in this way because not a lot of people do that. They just get people to follow on. And you're not going to learn anything just by following people. You become a carbon copy of them without the internal connections. So it's a bit of a, you know, double-edged sword sometimes.
It's interesting because I mean I've done a few classes with you now, and I didn't realize how much is actually involved in the practice. Because, like you said, it's not just about following the movements. There is a lot to think about. So there's a lot of internal stuff that's happening. So, yeah. So you can master the movement, but then you have to understand how everything works within as well.
You have to be able to feel it. So we have a saying in Taiji, and it's used quite a lot. One part moves, all parts move. One part stops, all parts stop. So basically what we're doing is we're not just moving a joint, we're moving all of the tissue, all of the sinew, all of the fascia. Everything in your body becomes unified when you do a movement. And that's the stage we're trying to get to. That's when we start to really master our bodies. But the first stage for me really is just to kind of feel this moving from, or feeling inside. Yeah, so when I'm opening my body, I'm opening all the way. And when I'm pulling on my body, I'm pulling from the inside. So yeah, really, really important.
Good.
I'm sure there is, but yeah, there's one in here, which means it has to go.
Yeah, I know, that's fine.
Right, let's get it first. Right, I've got to find it first.
Oh my god.
Because that is a mozzie.
It is.